Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm going to be watching that.
No, stop.
Now I'm a fully butch man who likes all sorts of masculine sports and team games.
Yep, you're
Can't
into
wait to
Six
see
Nations
it.
rugby.
They have a funny shaped ball in the rugby, don't they?
They do indeed.
Ed Byrne is with us.
You don't like football. Please tell me.
I found myself being interested in that game.
It's first women and now you liking football.
I found myself even trying to comment on it. You mean first women that you were surprised I like women?
No.
Oh, I see women are now. I thought you were disappointed that I'd come out as a
women are starting to
heterosexual.
like football, and now even the likes of dandies such as yourself.
I'm not saying I like it yet, okay? I'm just saying I enjoyed that game.
I've never been a fan.
And then I found myself reading some of the report the next day and even saying to a friend, well, good luck against Blackburn tonight.
I've been to one professional football match in my life, was Burnley v Huddersfield.
Yeah, see, that wouldn't really get you going, would it?
I actually, once again, I did enjoy it, but I stopped myself. As soon as I started to enjoy it, I went, that's it, no more for me. I'm not getting sucked into this. Carry on.
Yeah, maybe I should have pulled back.
Yeah. I agree with you about Montreal, though, by the way.
They are
very
chauvinistic
French.
about the French language, aren't they?
Well, I always say, because I've been over there a few times for the comedy
Of course,
festival,
they have
just for
the
laughs.
juste pour rire, that you have to go
Yeah. And they are very French. And I always think, you have to kind of respect them, though, for the fact that they're in Canada, they're surrounded by Canadians, and yet they still manage to be just as rude as the French in France.
But I see,
they're really hung on to their
here's the thing,
culture.
I don't find the French in France rude. I find the French in France very pleasant.
Really?
I find them nice. I enjoy going to France. I love Paris, and I like the French people there.
I find the French in Paris can be just as rude as the French in
But
Montreal.
the French in Montreal are
just have a bit more of an attitude about it.
c'est comme c'est us.
I always think it's funny how everything's got to be in English and in French, and obviously a lot of the time it's required, but sometimes it's just a waste of time.
Look, English is the world language.
But if you buy a packet of cigarettes, on one side, I remember buying one packet, and on one side the health warning said cigarettes cause cancer, and on the other side it said le cigarette cause le cancer.
I would have thought being
so there's
French
no
would
need.
say- on the other
There's
side
really
it would
no
say
need.
le cigarette est great. Because they're big on the smoke in the French, aren't they?
They do love it. Oh yeah.
Do you smoke?
I do smoke still.
Ed,
yeah.
Ed. How old are you now?
I'm 32.
When are you going to learn? When are you going to learn?
Dad, not
When are
in
you
front
gonna
of
learn?
the audience.
What do you do? How many a day do you smoke, Ed?
Do I smoke a day?
How many?
I don't know.
do you mean you
Between
don't
10 and 20.
Too many. 4 or 5 is a healthy amount, apparently.
There's no such thing as a healthy amount
I
of
read
cigarettes.
somewhere,
Oh,
4
no,
or 5 is
healthy
actually
amount
good
of
for you. I read
carcinogens.
this somewhere. It's probably true, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you're
I'm not a
sucking stuff
quitter.
in all day anyway. 4 or 5's good for you, apparently, and after that it's bad for you. You've got to get the balance right.
Well, I go back to Ireland now and again, and you can't smoke anywhere there.
Do you like the nicotine chewing gum?
No, I don't do that. I did wear patches one time when I was in Aspen for a comedy festival there, and that's really high up and you can't breathe. So I had to
of
go off
course.
the fags for a while. So I went on the patches while I was there. But you still have to back them up.
What if you can't get cigarettes? What's the effect for you? Or how does your body chemistry react?
I get quite agitated. I'm like most smokers. You could almost say I'm addicted. I feel some sort of withdrawal and I feel quite annoyed.
See, that can't be a good thing.
You know.
And did you get tetchy?
Yeah, I get tetchy.
Yeah,
I do. I'll go with that.
So
I'm
you
even
can't-
scratching
you
myself
can't-
now just thinking about it.
How long have you been with that cigarette this morning? Because here at the BBC you're not allowed to smoke indoors.
Yeah, I haven't had a cigarette yet today.
Okay. And
In fairness.
what time would you normally start smoking?
Yeah, I wouldn't normally start until the late afternoon. I have problems. Cigarettes are a very associative thing. I have to smoke, for instance, if I'm on the phone.
That's right. I understand that. My wife is like that. She's given up smoking again. She gave up once before very successfully. Picked it up again. I can't.
But then she didn't give it up very successfully, though.
Well, she did initially, but then decided to start smoking again.
You see, I always think that's the mark of how successfully you give up smoking,
No, you're
is
wrong. You're
whether
wrong.
or not you start again.
You're wrong. No, you're wrong.
I am a fool.
No, because she started smoking again on purpose. It wasn't like, I can't stop.
She didn't start by accident. She didn't fall over in the street and it landed in her gob.
Yeah, it was like, I think I'll do this again, you know. But she stopped again now, and she said that it is so associated with certain things. So when she sits down to go on the phone, or when something's happening to her, or after something, she would normally want to have a cigarette.
Yeah.
You know, but at the moment,
After something. I like the way you said that quite simply. After something.
No, not that.
might
No,
want to have a
not
cigarette.
the marital pleasures.
What, not after a good row?
No. Because by the time I'm finished, she hasn't got any breath left. You know, there's no puffing going on there.
Chloroform has that odd effect on a woman, doesn't it?
Yeah. How's she going to get a cigarette past the gaffer tape? But I apologise if it's not so. But she said when she's on the phone and stuff. So now what she's done is, and I recommend this to you, she bought herself a very small bag of intricate and different beads. And when she's on the telephone, she'll open it up, she'll fiddle with them.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to see you with a little bag of beads.
Yeah, I can see me with little rosary beads.
Yeah,
Just saying prayers for whoever I'm talking
you
to.
don't have to go the Catholic route, but she's got one's like a little carved elephant. And she'll put the little elephant on top of the little kind of turtles thing she's got, and it's like, it's a nice little thing to do. It keeps your fingers busy. That's what I'm saying. Keep your fingers busy.
As I say, they're just your lungs. You can't take them with you when you go.
Hey, have you been watching that autopsy show on Channel 4?
No, I haven't. Anatomy for Beginners.
Oh.
Is that the one?
It's a strange title. It's like, because I don't ever want to do anatomy professionally, so I don't really need the beginner's course. It's basically anatomy for voyeurs.
I did watch I did watch them when they did the big autopsy thing.
Yeah, and the guy with the Lee Van Cleef hat.
Yeah, the hat is a bit too much.
Too much.
I think the hat's just far too much of a flourish.
Here's what I feel like saying to him. If you're prepared to cut someone open and show us their insides, why can't we have a look at your bald head? Why are you modest? Okay, you're showing us the inside of his testicle sack.
I just think the whole plasticized thing, is it's not like what an autopsy looks like. When you cut open a body, it's not made of plastic.
I don't wish to seem racist, but I can't think of anyone other than a German coming up with that.
Let us turn us into plastic before we cut it open.
Let's move on, because
sorry,
I fear that we're skirting...
People having their Saturday breakfast.
Yeah, and Kilroy's at home cheering. Ed is touring again this year. Are you going off? I guess you're a working comedian. This is your existence. It is kind of touring and then a DVD and then a tour and a DVD. And I know a friend of mine, Jack
Except without the DVDs.
Well, you had a DVD, though, haven't you?
I'm less successful than your average comedian, but the average touring comedian.
A friend of mine's just about to go on tour again now, and he's currently working up new material. And I didn't realise what a nightmarish process that must be. Jack D.
All right, yes, I know.
And he's going to small venues up and down the country to try out new material, to perfect it and hone it. Is that something you would have to do as well? Is that the kind of normal way of going?
Yeah, I'll nip down to my local comedy club or some such and try the new gear.
And so how much would you do on a new gear night? How much kind of new material would you...
Oh, you'll just pop down. I mean, basically, for the likes of me, I'll go down to like the open mic night, say, downstairs at the King's Head in Crouch End, and you'll just go on for 5 minutes and
just
do
try a few bits. And do you then finish off with a couple of old bits that you know?
Not really. If it hasn't gone well, then you have to. But generally, it works all right, and people appreciate it, particularly when you go to these sort of open mic nights and you've got a bit of piece of paper in your hand. The last time I went down to the King's Head, actually, it was shortly before Edinburgh, and it was loads of us what popped up. It was an open mic night. It was supposed to be all people who'd hardly ever done comedy
before, yeah.
And myself, Jimmy Carr, Lee Mack, and Danny Boy, who were all, working comics, some have been on telly, had all shown up to try out new material.
So that must be quite nice for the audience.
Yeah, I mean, they paid $3.50 to get in.
Yeah, that's good.
So they're kind of just quite happy.
But was any of the material?
I'm using all of it, bar two jokes. It's all in there.
Now that's an impressive bunch of people to see for free like that. I would have thought. Is there greater pressure on you to make sure that are you less open to trying out stuff which you're uncertain about? When there's a crowd of fellow comedians in as well, or do you just say, what the hey, I'm going to try it?
No, you kind of have to. In fact, it's kind of cheating. You can spot if you watch a comedian, they get up and they say, I'm going to try out some new material, and then they start dipping into their old material. Yeah. You feel like heckling and go, no, that's old.
That's scorn.
Don't be pretending now. You're chickening out of the new stuff.
And how do you actually write stuff? Do you actually sit down and devote like an hour of the day or something and say, I'm going to write now? And you get a pen, paper out and...
Some people do, and I probably should.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So how do you do it?
I'd just be sitting about, and then I'd be having a conversation, and I'll say something funny as part of the conversation, and then I'll go, there might be a bit in that.
And do you write it down, though?
Generally, I'll make a note.
Right.
When I've got a tour coming up or something like that, or a new Edinburgh show or something like that coming up, I'll make a note. Because
I have a little book, a specific book?
No, I don't. I'll just anything that comes to hand.
Let's make a note. When Ed's on next time, we'll buy him a little book.
Okay. What are you going to make a note of that in?
Yeah, in my little book.
Have you got a special book? You've got a scrap of paper in front of you there.
I do have.
He's got a scrap of paper to make a note about how I've got to have a special little book to make notes
excuse me.
Oh, then you pulled one out.
I have a little book in my pocket and I've written in it, ER 97 Jane away. And underneath it I've written cancer shirt. I've no idea what this is. And there's someone's phone number.
See, that's always the thing as well, because you always write little short notes to remind you of jokes and you think, I'll remember what that means, and then you never do. You look back then a year later and you go, I am a hammer. What does that mean?
What would you write on the front of your little book? If you had a little book, would it say ideas? Would it say work in progress? Would it
no,
say
I wouldn't say
comedy
that,
gold?
That would attract attention.
Ed Byrne's book
I'll leave it blank.
Putative gags.
I'll put shopping on it or something like
Shopping,
that.
that's
so people don't know what it's for.
Also, if you left it lying around, no one would steal it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they say, why would I want that?
I wouldn't do, you don't write Bob Monkhouse's big book of jokes.
Bless him.
Please do not steal.
Oh, God bless him.
Then you're asking for it, aren't you?
And do you, when you write the stuff down like that, do you actually then refer back and polish it after the event quite a lot?
No.
Or do you think that's good to go?
No, write down, just write a note to remind me of the vague bit, and then go and try it out, and then if it works, do it again, and then the more you do it, the longer it gets, and the better it gets.
Because presumably
That's
now that
just
you
how
know
it
you
works.
can do it,
It's an organic thing.
But you've got a good enough reputation for people to think, okay, they've laughed at you enough for you to feel, well, I am a proper comedian.
Yeah.
But early on, when you first started doing it, I guess there must have been times when you thought, well, this isn't going to work, or will this work?
Yeah.
Or how do I make this amuse an audience?
Yeah, when I was starting out, funny, I used to imagine, if I'd write a new bit, I used to imagine other comedians saying it. And I used to think if I could imagine it coming out of the mouth of another comedian, I would imagine Dennis Leary or Bill Hicks or Jerry Sadowitz or Jeff Green and people like that from the circuit, you know. I would just imagine them saying it. And if I could see it coming out of one of their mouths, I go, well, maybe that'll work.
Did you ever accidentally steal stuff that you had heard coming out their mouth?
No, I mean, I have done. We all have on the. I mean, I remember I used to support. Do you know Boothby Graffo?
Yes.
I used to support him on the comedy network, the student union tour.
Right.
And I just got used to watching him every night. And on one night, I actually made a joke that he does, which was about about all the polytechnics becoming universities.
Yeah.
All the polytechnics becoming universities. Where are all the thick people going to go? Which was his joke. And I just did it. Just popped in my head, and I just did it right in front of him, like. And he went, "That's not my joke." And he started going, "Yes, it's mine." And just from having watched him night after night and being in universities.
Well, you've got to be so careful.
It does. It creeps in.
You've got to be so careful. All right, have we got time to have another record?
We've only got. Yeah, we can do.
No. Oh, we don't have to.
Well, it's there. It's there. It's a short one. It's the Foundations.
Foundations. That is lovely. 88 to 91 FM. This is Radio 2 from the BBC. Oh.
What?
If you like that kind of thing, I'm sure that's great.
Excuse me, you were actually singing along at one point.
I wasn't singing, I was drumming like that, but that was more nervous tension.
Why? Van Morrison.
You a big Van Morrison fan, Ed?
I like. You're not allowed to slag Van Morrison from Ireland. It's a rule. You're actually.
I think he's adequate.
You're precluded by law from saying anything against him.
Probably quite.
I think he's good. There you go. That's why.
It's not
apparently a bit of a lech.
He's okay. Really?
That's what I hear.
So you're allowed to say that?
But you like his music.
But that's considered a compliment. And a lech to boot.
Well done on the leching. Here's a story that I'm curious to have your opinion on. An Oklahoma senator hopes to revive cockfighting by putting tiny boxing gloves on roosters.
On where? On their feet, like? Or on,
well, not on their head.
No, hang on, though, because they don't use their feet.
They do. They
jump
up and they go.
No. They use their beaks.
Like that.
Have you seen a claw? They have wings. They don't have claws. Where do you put the boxing glove?
It'd be on their nose. It's got to be on their nose.
It must be on their nose. Otherwise, it's really pointless. All right, doing an impression isn't helping the discussion.
Because look, there's the little claws up in the air.
Yeah.
And then
where?
Boxing gloves on.
Yeah, but they fall on their backside. Boom.
I think it's a kind of a boxing muzzle or something like that. A beak glove is what
I would like.
Which would then, it would go on for years.
Look, he's saying the senator, his name is Frank Sheridan, he plans to appease animal rights activists by making the roosters wear gloves over their spurs and put vests on them with sensors to record the hit. So when they get a nice roundhouse blow from one cockerel into the roosters, just
But what about the pecking?
Oh, it's.
Well, the pecking, you don't worry about the pecking.
What do they do? Put a bit of tape around the beak.
No,
It's pointless then.
I'm all for it.
Here we go again.
I'm all for it. What else are going to do? I'm going to eat them.
Look, a cockfight is a cockfight. It's pointless. It's like going paintballing against somebody instead of going to war.
I've long believed that if you were to put monkeys on the backs of foxes or wolves and race them, it would be one of the greatest sporting events known to man.
Would you strap them on?
No,
Would they be there voluntarily?
They know what they're doing. Monkeys know. Monkeys are smart enough to know to hang on.
Why wolves?
I think if monkeys are that smart, they'll know not to get on in the first place.
Not if there's prize money involved. They know there's a purse.
Greyhounds would be better because they could come out the traps. You have bigger traps, and out the traps come a little monkey on the back
With a little vest on.
Yeah.
I think that animals should just be used to liven up sports that we have already, like a football match if it gets a bit boring. Release the hounds! And just dogs. Or monkeys, even better. Monkeys just run out of the pitch. Really angry chimps that will grab people.
Or lions.
Like proper Simpsons-type chimps that will jump on your face and pummel you.
Monkeys, ideally, with inflamed-looking red bottoms.
Yeah.
Surely the greatest monkey of them all. I'd like to see, but I do think that, it's odd that certain animals we consider fair game to enjoy as a sporting pursuit. I don't mean in terms of hunting, but in terms of watching. Horse racing. Greyhound racing, okay?
Well, there are many who would say that that's not fair.
I would like to propose shark racing.
How does that work?
You let a penguin loose.
No.
And then the sharks chase after him. 4 or 5 sharks in a tank. Fantastic.
Is the penguin the natural diet of the shark?
Yeah, possibly.
I thought it was a seal, isn't it?
Well, seals then.
Yeah. All right, then seal.
I just
thought penguins were cheaper.
Well, a
That's
penguin's
all.
more televisual. You know, I mean, you're going to get more interest involved from the kids if there's
Do
a
you hear
penguin
that
involved.
a few years ago, some young men broke into? I'm assuming it was men. It could have been girls, but it doesn't sound like a girl thing to do.
Yeah.
Broke into Belfast Zoo in the middle of the night and broke in and lifted a load of penguins out of their enclosure and threw them into the lions' enclosure.
That's not...
Now, on the one hand, that is a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
What a night.
you've got to think there's got to be a moment where the penguin does not recognise the lion as Lord of the Jungle. You know, does not recognise his
I
authority.
imagine the lions were quite surprised by the invasion as well. I think, what are they thinking?
They've been separated by years of evolution and continental shift.
Haven't they read about us? Haven't they seen Born Free?
But they might be looking at penguins going, are they actually quite fearsome?
Yeah.
This is something I've not come across before. It could be poisonous for all I know.
Does the story have a happy ending? Did any of the...
No, I don't think any of the penguins survived.
We can only hope it was quick.
And we can only hope the lions didn't get indigestion due to the fact that they're not used to penguin meat.
Do kangaroos still box? Do you know anyone?
Now, and when they do, they wear gloves as well, don't they?
Well, that's fine. That's good. Could someone email us if they've ever seen a kangaroo boxing? Okay? www.bbc.co.uk Radio 2. If you've ever seen a kangaroo boxing, not necessarily with a human,
Just
although
with each
obviously
other?
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Or shadow boxing. Just a kangaroo. That's like mad kangaroos.
And what's great is when boxers kind of like, you know, when they've kind of run out of steam really and they're on their way down, they'll box anyone for money. Right? It's sad, but Mike Tyson, he'll box anyone or anything right now. Okay? Now, who amongst us would not pay to see Tyson square up against a kangaroo?
That has got to happen someday.
Pay-per-view, I tell you.
Tyson versus kangaroo.
Sky are salivating at the very thought. You would pay to see that, wouldn't you? My money would still be on the kangaroo, though, because they're powerful beasts.
I'd like to see him grab the kangaroo and then bite its ear. And it'd be mouth be full of fur and hair.
It's bushmeat, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd really tickle his throat.
I think we've exhausted the animals in sport line here. I think we've covered most of the bases. If you'd care to join in, please do.
I'll race a crocodile.
Yeah, but crocodiles are slow.
Exactly.
Would you
I'm not very sporty.
Would you run across their back like Roger Moore
Like
did
James
in Live and
Bond.
Let Die?
Yeah. No bother.
Yeah, you would if Solitaire was went on the other side. Oh, come on. Let's have a bit more music. We'll chat to Ed some more after this.
New single by the Dogs.
Lovely. I like that a lot.
The Dogs.
The Dogs
Or
are great.
just Dogs.
Where are Dogs from?
I think they're a London-based band.
They're very
maybe
good.
Wrong, maybe wrong.
They were good. They were better than the
great.
Deers. I wasn't keen on that Deers thing.
Oh, well,
Deers,
I like the
Dogs.
Deers.
And yes, and apparently they're on. I
on
heard
next
you
week,
talking
yeah.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't that keen. I'm sorry.
Why did you want to even say that?
Well, I'm just, just to show that I don't just automatically say I like anything that you play.
Well, you don't have
I'm not
to,
just
but
going along with.
They're on next week
It
now,
makes
and they're
my.
probably sitting at home thinking, oh, we're looking forward to going in. Then the bloke from the Carphone Network or whichever you do, going, I don't like them. Well, now,
I think it makes my praise for the Dogs the more sincere.
Never mind the
If I
dogs,
then
they're
say
not
that I
coming
don't
on.
like
What about the
something
poor
else?
deers? The poor old deers at home.
Wow, Days.
Ed Byrne is with us. He's playing in Derby tonight. He's on tour at the moment all over the UK, doing 64 dates. How far into that?
I've done three. I've done 2 nights in Hemel Hempstead,
You're down
one night in
61 to
Harrow.
go.
I haven't even done like proper tour yet. I've been in Hemel 2 nights and Harrow 1 night. So yeah, just like you go do the gig and go home again.
Now-
It's not really like being on the road.
With the touring like this, there are presumably quite a few nights you do spend wherever you are. You don't come home every night.
Yeah, I'll spend the night in Derby tonight.
So how much time on a 64 night tour do you spend away from home, do you think?
I don't know, probably about half the dates.
So
I've spent away, yeah.
30 or 40 nights we're looking at your girlfriend not having you.
No,
snuggle
for
up
instance,
to.
my girlfriend's coming with me tonight.
Oh, well, that's good.
But that's because her brother and sister are coming to the show tonight.
Oh.
Which should be all right, although her parents are coming to see me in Salford, which is sometime next month, I think.
I'll tell you exactly when Salford is if you want to know.
Well,
Wow, that's a way off. That's Saturday the 2nd of April.
Okay, yeah.
That's a long way off.
So I've got time to write some clean material.
So they're not familiar with your oeuvre.
Well, they saw me. I was on Today with Des and Mel last week. And
That's going to be a slightly sanitised version.
well, exactly. And mother was saying, apparently was watching and saying, "Oh, he seems very funny. That seems like just a thing." And my girlfriend said, "Well, it's like that, but with swearing in there." Oh, that'll be all right. Now, bear in mind, this is a couple who don't particularly like Billy Connolly because he swears a bit too much. So I'm thinking.
So I give the relationship essentially you'll be breaking up on the 3rd of April then probably.
No, I think we'll still be together, but I just think they'll look at me and her differently as well, because I do talk about.
Have you met
my
the
girlfriends. Yes, and they're lovely people.
Of course you have to say that.
Well, of
but
course
compared to the dogs,
I don't think
how
they
much do you
listen
like
to
them?
I think they listen to Radio 4.
Yeah. And I don't blame them. So you're safe right now. So you can say what you want, really.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get drawn into that. They're bound to have some
You could even
friends
be quite
listening.
honest if you'd like to. How
They
many?
are lovely people.
How many times have you-
Farming stock.
Oh, that's good. How many times have you visited with them?
I've been up there now 4 or 5 times.
Okay, and did they lay on? First time, was there a big effort made?
Yeah, the second time actually I was there, I actually helped out on the farm.
Oh, wow.
I donned a big green overall and had a big sort of water fountainy thing, a big water jet spray.
The way
thing,
you're holding that
and
up-
cleaned all the cow and sheep muck off a trailer.
It looked like you were holding up a spear or something.
Yeah, I felt like a warrior, a mighty
so
warrior bringing
what-
home the bacon.
What sort of farm is it? It's a produce or
It's sheep and cattle.
sheep and cattle? So
cows.
it's livestock. It's not kind of like a growing.
Yeah, it's a meat farm.
a meat farm.
Yes, I've got a lamb in my freezer right now, chopped up.
Oh,
Yeah. What do you mean? No. That's what they're for. They're for eating.
they're not for that. It's,
They are for that.
No,
What are they?
they're-
They're not pets.
well, we've
They're
got
not
two.
used- we don't hunt them.
We've got two as pets.
You're odd.
They make, but you know what? This morning, as I took a little stroll in the garden and said hello to Molly and Muffin, I felt pleased that we'd rescued them from someone's freezer.
Muffin. In fact, you even named one of them after a foodstuff. You see?
I'm not saying that if we were in, sort of dire straits, I wouldn't eat them.
I eat them now before they turn into mutton. That's all I can tell you. You'll regret it if you don't eat
When
them
you get
now.
to my age, you like a bit of mutton. I find myself looking at mutton more often and thinking, that's not so bad. Interpret
Dress
that
it up a bit.
however you wish. I'm looking at some mutton right now.
Mutton with lamb trimmings.
Hey, Chaz and Dave are playing this weekend.
Are they?
Yeah, fancy a bit of that action?
Oh, yeah.
I'm torn. There were 2 big gigs on this weekend. Ramstein are playing tonight.
Are they?
And tomorrow night, Chaz and Dave.
Ramstein, that's a good one. Just big, muscly, gay heavy metalers. That's
Hang
what
on
I
a
wanna say.
second. Number, I don't think they're that muscly.
They're very muscly. They're
don't
big.
think so.
They're big butch.
I think they pump up for their videos a bit.
Yeah.
Like we all would. You're
Yeah.
telling me you don't pump up when you know you're doing a DVD?
Oh yeah.
You're actually quite weedy, aren't you?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, but
because there were people listening who hadn't seen me and mightn't have realised
your
that.
voice
Thought
is-
I sound smooth and
Yeah,
sophisticated.
you got
but
a
could
wee-
possibly, he sounds like he could at least be of average build.
That voice is clearly
But we
the voice
reveal.
of someone who was bullied at school. There's no strength in that voice, Ed. It's a lovely voice. Your
Thank
voice
you
is very
very
much a
much.
fortune, I imagine, at the moment.
Thank you. I'm not much of a fighter.
But I'm curious, have you never wanted to be muscular?
Yeah, I've actually got a multi-gym. It's just been delivered just a little while ago into my house. I've got a multi-gym in my house.
That's not going to work.
And I think my girlfriend's just moved in, and I'm just sorting out the house, and I got the multi-gym. I'm delighted because I paid for it on the 30th of September, and it's just arrived. Right? And I go, this is excellent. I'm going to bulk up. Here we go. I'm drinking the protein shakes, the lot. And then I'm moving boxes around because my girlfriend moved in. I've done me back in. I can hardly move at the moment.
There's never going to be any real strength.
I've done me back
your
in.
frame.
I'm serious. I'm like an old man already. I'm 32 years old. I'm a miserable old git.
32, what a lovely age to be. Ed, I'm going to say goodbye to you now
Okay.
because we've got coming up on the show Feeder. Are you a Feeder fan?
Now I do like feeder.
Good. Well,
that's
I'm
all right.
Immensely.
Good.
I'm not just saying that. You see, I'm not just saying that.
don't know
I don't praise people I don't like.
We don't know
I
whether
like
to trust you
feeder.
now.
I like feeder.
After saying how much you like the
Deer's
wife's
not that keen. Dogs do like them.
Mark Armand, you a fan of Mark Armand?
No.
He's on later on.
Is he on later on?
Yeah, but you
Is
know,
he here
you,
now?
you can say what you want because since his accident, I believe he has only short-term memory. So whatever you say now, he'll have forgotten by the time he comes
I've
down
never
here.
been a big fan. I like things with guitars in them.
Mark Armand's great.
There you go.
That's why I
It's
didn't
just
like
not
the
to
Deers,
my
see?
taste.
Deers is more orchestral.
You can see Ed Byrne up and down the country. Go and see him. He's a very, very funny man. He's a brilliant comedy performer, and it will be a gig I'm sure that you will treasure in your memory, right up there with the birth of your first child.
Wow.
How about
Thank
that?
you. Can I have that as a quote?
You
I'm
can
going to put that on the poster.
Put that on the poster.
You
There
will
go.
treasure this show like the birth of your
He's
first
in
child.
Derby tonight. If you get the chance, then he's off to Warwick, then Canterbury, Swindon, Norwich, and you can find out all the details. Is it edburn.com?
Edburn.com, yeah.
Edburn.com.
We'll have the listings, yeah.
That's Byrne spelt in the upmarket way, the
B-Y-R-N-E.
B-Y-R-N-E, not the B-U-R-N.
No.
And that's
not as in Sunburn.
That's a lesser man altogether.
Yeah.
Ed, good luck with the tour.
Cheers.
Good luck with the family.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with the, I think, somewhat doomed attempt to put a bit of meat on your bones.
I'll do my best. I'm feeding myself up with lamb.
Well, you're looking a bit bigger than I remember you,
Well,
but not in a muscular way.
I'm growing a pot. That's the one thing I'm delighted about.
Yeah.
Nowhere else is there anything
Nothing
extra
more
going
attractive
on.
than a frail man
Frail
with a
man
pot
with
belly.
a pot. Scrawny and flabby at the same time.
Good luck. He's looking like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, in fact. That's the future. Good to see you again.
See you later.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming
again.
in.